Hi guys, welcome back to Moment of Silence Pod. I'm Sakshi Shivdasani.
And I'm Naina Bhan.
And we have gotten the most PG way to get on Desi Crime.
We were like, let's get chased by a car, let's commit
Let's
a
get
crime.
murdered.
But then we're like, what if we just really kindly ask and
Ask.
sweetly check if
And we're very
Aishwarya and
happy to be
Aryaan
here.
Would you guys like to give a two-line intro of the two of y'all?
Hi guys, my name is Aryaan and welcome to the Desi Crime Podcast and MOS collab.
I'm Aishwarya, the better host of the two. It's so nice to be here.
Yeah, the better host has to tell that.
Before we compete and kill ourselves to be the better host, you should subscribe to this channel because 55% of you are not subscribed. So stop
Yeah.
flirting with us
And-
and just commit to this pod, commit to us.
The saddest part is 55% of our podcast is just 55 people.
Shut the fuck up. No, we know you love us. Choose us, pick us, subscribe to us, and let's get into
Pick
it.
me.
Let's
Let's get into the video.
Basically, when I was in school, these people from Princeton came and they were like, "Come to Princeton. Here's a whole deck of Y," and then they were like, "It's only 75,000 USD," and I was like, "I don't even believe in myself enough to justify the cost of going to Princeton. I know I'm not the kid who's going to get a scholarship. It's just not gonna happen." And then I know my parents will be super irritated because I would have taken like a class like finger painting in the Renaissance, you know, and it just wouldn't have gone down well. So I ended up at Delhi University or Kath mein, maine history padha, and you know, I always wondered what would it be like to study abroad? Would it have changed my entire life? Did it change your entire life?
I think so. I feel like it exposed me to an ability to be myself that I feel like, as sad as it is, I never felt here. And something as small as the way that I dress, being informed by being outside, I think those small things really added to my identity, whether it be the kind of experiences you were exposed to in a college in the US, where it's not all about the academics, the fact that I got to be on an incredible model UN team, the fact that there was money invested in us to be able to do things that we were passionate about, and take a class like the philosophy of love and sex and actually be okay to talk about that in college. I think it definitely changed my life.
What I'm hearing.
My approach was just to date a bunch of NRIs in a row. Got the same experience and I got paid.
For me, I guess I had the same औकात में रहने वाला issue. I was also preparing for entrance exams, 11th and 12th. It's funny, it's related to crime somehow why I decided to go to US. I was in Akash preparing for medical exam, and an environment at one of those coaching institutes it is weird, like these kids with their heads down just looking at the board and back to their books, and we're doing stuff, and I was that kid. And there was one moment where the professor, the teacher goes, they were teaching about lupus, and so she went, this Indian politician's wife also had lupus. Now, fine, I was going to a coaching institute, but I was well versed in, I guess, Indian politics and just general knowledge. So I just quipped at her going, "Oh yeah, Sunanda Pushkar, Shashi Tharoor's wife." And everybody looked at me as if I am the smartest person around because all they know is biology. All they knew was PCMB or whatever, the answers to the questions. And in that moment, I realized that, I don't want to become one of them. This is not what I want to become. And I, last few months, decided to go to US and, I mean, with God's grace, got a full ride. And so went to the States. But it changed my life for all the reasons Aishwarya enlisted.
No, I also did my medical entrance, but I dropped out for different reasons. I realized I wasn't even as smart as the sheep in the room. I was like, I'll get into comedy, modeling. And
But you dropped out from medical school or?
No, I gave my medical entrance exams. I actually didn't rank that bad. I was in the top 10,000. Well, in medical entrance, it's not bad.
Yeah.
And then I realized that I still won't get into like a government school. And then again, like my dad would have to shell out money.
Kidneys,
Sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, and I just couldn't do that to him, man. Like I just was like, it's not worth it in
Yeah.
me. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So from doctor to like comedy creator, what was his response like to
I
that
will be
journey?
asking the question. No, we're not on great terms, thanks. But for different, unrelated reasons. No, he was chill. He didn't expect much from me, to be honest. This is best case scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A podcast.
Shout out.
I also always wanted to be on the student council, but unfortunately, I was too hot. So
Yeah.
Thanks.
How rude. I was just too unpopular in like the voting, the student voting. They would be like, ew, we will never take instructions from her. So
dude, I had like F's on my report card. I was always getting pulled up, etc., etc. And then when they announced the student body representatives, I had a tear in my eye. Like the level of delusion, I was like, what? They didn't pick me?
We had an intense process. It was you had to present a public manifesto to the students.
Ouch.
So that was like the whole school sitting and listening to you, all the teachers.
Whole school.
You had to be nominated by the teachers and the principal to then be on the list. Then you had to do like a week-long stint of going and canvassing and asking for votes. Then the student voting would happen. Then there was a group discussion with the principal and like 4 other teachers with the selected down, narrowed down pool
Yeah,
of students.
yeah.
And then you got selected for the student
so-
council.
And we were the topmost batch because our school was new, right? And it's like
Yeah, we were the
Shiv
first batch to
Nadar, it's a
graduate.
big brand, and all. So they were really diligent in the beginning. And we are remembered. I meet juniors, and they remember us for our speeches that were delivered to the entire school because that was where the votes were decided. So it was like a rally, literally.
It was
I
crazy.
remember I copy you guys know Derek O'Brien, this quizzer, now politician, TMC. Now I saw one of his quizzes I attended where he did something. He made us clap for. So he said, "Everybody close your eyes. Imagine like it's a dry day and you're in a desert and it's about to rain." And he said, "Clap with one finger." And so everybody is clapping with one finger and it's a very faint sound and your eyes are closed and you can imagine it. And then 2 fingers, then 3 fingers and 4. And I just copied that in my speech. 2 years.
plagiarize.
Yeah. And I
literally.
became the head boy. So
Oh. Like Radhika Merchant at the pre-wedding. Aryaan did it first, Radhika.
Oh my god. But that is a core difference between both our podcasts, right? Like, you guys are well researched. You know, you're putting it all together. You're getting all, like, the crowds going every week. There's like love pouring in for Desi Crime. And we have a podcast WhatsApp group, right? And Sakshi and I are having the polar opposite experience to Desi Crime. They're like, our audience is so sweet. They're so kind. They're so engaged. And Sakshi and I are like, you know.
Must be nice.
Who knew that if you just came and talked shit with no preparation, people would not like it?
Yeah, sucks.
No, but the fact of the matter is, I genuinely think that I couldn't do what you guys do. I think my forte lies in being able to do the research and write something that I know how to read out well. But if I was just to sit here and make like fun conversation for an hour,
yeah, we're not
Yeah,
hot
no.
enough.
No,
enough
that's
for
not.
that.
Maybe in your next life.
I know. Yeah.
Though to be fair, okay, 1 second. I started listening to Desi Crime when you guys were audio, okay? So I had no idea who you guys were. Then I
Yeah.
stalked you on the internet. And
I
was
didn't
like,
expect them to look that good.
yeah. I was like,
You're
was
not too
I get
smart.
that a lot.
Dude, I was expecting like these two, like, you know, in like dark academia fits, like 2 like gamers, coders,
The
like,
bikini
you know, they
pics
were like,
were not expected.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you're like in Lululemon, like, you know, fucking weightlifting. He's got a ear piercing. I'm like, this is not
Like,
I'm not understanding.
I think we got those comments for a while after. I think there was this stint where our personal Instagrams suddenly became famous, and that was when the Desi Crime page suddenly went viral. So a lot of people were flocking from there to us, and we got that comment.
I wouldn't say famous, but yeah,
No,
like
not
they-
famous,
yeah.
as in.
Okay,
Well-
how much do you get? Like, how much do people write in because they just love your voices?
Oh, a lot.
Quite a few.
Quite a few.
Have you ever dated anybody based off the fact that they were really into your voice?
Not
No.
been with, no.
What,
What does that mean?
Like as in, like that's a like I've been with somebody who has told me that
Yeah.
the voice is something that they're really attracted to, but I
Same.
didn't date them.
Surprisingly, I don't think I get that compliment.
Yeah,
You know.
you don't get that.
You have a great voice. No, I was saying I don't think I've ever gotten that compliment from someone I know personally. I've only gotten it from people who listen to the podcast. I don't know why that is.
I wanted to ask, actually, I know you're in a happy relationship.
Yes.
Would you like date a fan?
Yeah.
No, I won't date a fan.
Why? Why that strong opinion?
She's like,
I have initially been out with
Okay.
some,
Yeah.
and it's a very weird dynamic. So I guess like I would date somebody that's a fan, but they're a fan in the sense that they listen to the podcast but have their own thing or are in the same field. So they, fandom is not and fandom can be weird if you're not in the same field. And I've experienced that, and it's a dynamic I don't like. I don't even know how to say it, but they don't know you and they don't want to know you.
yeah, they just want you to like.
They just want you to
Yeah.
be
Be
Aryaan.
in
Welcome
their
to Desi
head,
Crime.
yeah. I
so-
get that.
Interesting. So then, do you like when you went out with the people that were like into you, Aryaan?
But we're not with them.
Yeah, but we're not with them. To clarify, what did they say that got you off DM and to the table at a restaurant?
Off DM to the table, being pretty helps. So that's cool. That helps. Yeah, I think it was pretty much them being hot.
Oh my god.
Are you
And
scared
inside
of-
into the male mind.
They fucking
Wow.
judge me for my fucking statements, and we're all the same when the lights go off. Just some of us have better voices.
Yeah,
And had to do a whole fucking plagiarizing campaign
Yeah,
to become
clap
head
with one
boy.
finger.
Yeah. Are you scared he just alienated your audience?
No, I don't know. The women on the podcast love him. They're crazy about him. I think it'll take a little more to piss them off.
Do you feel like you're
We'll
an
try.
Yeah,
Aryaan?
we'll try to
Do you feel like you're an Aryaan apologist?
No, I not at
No,
all. I
she's
feel like I'm the
not.
opposite. I'm an Aryaan nudger,
Yeah.
and irritator.
How do you guys keep such a good relationship going? Firstly, because like they made this podcast out of their dorm room in college when other people were like having lives and like going out and partying.
Naina,
true, we
what are you
had
trying to do so I can get on the same page? Because I'm like,
it's true though.
It's
We
true.
weren't
Like, what?
we didn't have a social
no, and
life.
it's so funny. For the first 2 years of college, I had absolutely no social life. I had a 4.0 GPA. Last 2 years,
Same.
I actually made friends grades like.
Yeah.
So it's so obvious.
I
in my
dropped- when I got a
transcript that
social
didn't
life,
have
I
a
dropped
social life
out.
and then had one.
Yeah.
you know, that's the cheat code. I went to a college that I wouldn't have gotten into unless there was Sindhi quota because I'm Sindhi and that's a thing in Bombay and it was a shit college. But I still didn't have friends or grades, so I don't know where this is going. At least you all had a college life.
But
In the
how?
US.
Like, how do you guys not get on each other's nerves with so much work?
we get on each other's
Firstly,
nerves
we get on each
all
other's
the
nerves
time.
all the time.
All the time.
Who's the aggressor?
I think it's Aryaan. I think Aryaan irritates me.
I think it's me, but I think for sometimes reasons that are. No, I get on her nerves.
You have a grade A in justifying.
I know, but I accept I get on her nerves. It's just I end up micromanaging too much,
Yeah.
and sometimes it leads to good things also, and I know she'll
Yeah,
agree
yeah,
with that.
definitely.
But it has its repercussion. It has its repercussions that I can be anal to the point that is not necessary, and
It-
so I have to apologize.
Is there any fight that y'all have had that y'all were like, I never want to sit in front
This
of the
podcast
camera
again, yeah.
with them again?
Not a creative fight of
Not a
that
creative
nature,
fight.
no.
No.
Not a creative fight.
What
Do
kind of-
tell.
yeah, please. You guys are, I love how you just like, put everything. It's so like.
Yeah, she's
color-coded.
playing on our
Very
dumbness that we're not
Yeah.
gonna catch this. But what did y'all fight about?
We had actually broken up.
Yeah.
So that was the reason that.
An MOS exclusive.
Were you guys dating?
Yeah.
Oh,
Wait, what?
Yeah.
And you managed
Huh.
to keep the pod going after.
But then we
There
got
was
to
a
the
sm-
point, there was a huge whatever. There wasn't a falling out or a fight as such, but it was just that we didn't necessarily want to be in such close proximity to each
Okay,
other
so
all the
for
time.
4
So
months
for many
in,
months we weren't
yeah,
producing the
there were
podcast.
no
in a
Oh my
way.
god, okay, 1 second. I have a new form.
Yeah.
Found.
First time publicly though, so
Yeah.
there you go.
but that's
Just
actually
in.
nice because y'all
Yeah.
are very more professional than us. Because Naina and I, if she takes my nail polish, I'll be like, "Mujhe nahi baitna." Like, I don't have a professional relationship
Yeah,
like
no,
that.
No,
Take my nail
I
polish.
think it's. I've almost thought. Of course, initially, I wouldn't have wanted to talk about this, but I think as time has gone on and we are such good friends, I hate this movie. Something we said on the pod before, one of the cases where this idea that exes can't be friends and boys and girls can't be friends, that sort of men and women can't be friends. I think this is the perfect example of do not have that fucking approach, because especially men in India, I think men across the world need more female friends. And when you put these sort of arbitrary notions like exes can't be friends or women can't be friends, just friends, it it men need female friends, and she's one of the closest ones I have. And so I think it's okay we talk about this, because it helps other people feel comfortable in having those relationships in their lives.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm like, I don't know how you guys managed to keep it going even after that, because I can imagine that's very painful. Like, I can't imagine being in a room with my ex and
That's
having a
because your
functional-
ex fucking sucks. Yeah, I also
This just in.
I also couldn't work with my ex because my ex, the one that I'm thinking about, hasn't worked since 2004 when he was a drug dealer for a while in the
Okay,
middle.
great.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I could
Good to
work
know.
in a drug dealing racket,
Yes.
but I
Crap.
couldn't work with him unless I wanted to be free and out of jail.
Mm-hmm.
So then, okay, then now I'm understanding. You guys were essentially then working on the podcast in a great relationship. How was dating once you guys broke up, like in America? Like, is it any different from dating in India?
Oh,
Definitely. I think, and to me, being in the US, having just broken up, it was a very calculated decision of I don't want to match with Indians. I just want to try and have a different experience. I don't want to sit with another Indian talking about the same language that our mothers speak back home, the same city we might possibly have lived in at some point in time. So I really wanted a different experience. I decided to go out with people that were not Indian. And I think, again, it ties back to my freedom and ability to be myself without being judged. I met some incredible people. I think I made great friends along the way. Not that it's not that I made lifelong friends, but I think I learned something about myself. I learned how to flirt. I learned how to be in bed. I learned my own preferences, my likes, dislikes. It was just an exercise in self-exploration that I feel like is very hard to get here. I think, just my ability to be myself is hindered here. That wasn't
And the ability to flirt, like I've said before,
Yeah.
opens so many doors.
I honestly, I don't know how to flirt. I've been figuring this out with my therapist that I don't have any like flirt game.
ज़्यादा पैसे आ गए.
you go straight to bullying.
No, I don't go straight to bullying. Actually, I'm the opposite. I go straight
Yeah.
to lying on the floor
Naina's very
like a fucking doormat. And I'm like, this is me at my
Like-
worst. They're like, of course, a doormat. So enticing.
No, but Naina's very, very nice. When like if she's not interested in people, she's normal, and if she's interested in them, she's so nice to the point that like that guy is going to end up treating her badly just because she comes in with like all cards on the table.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
So how do you flirt, and how do you ascertain that this is a good guy and this is not a good guy, or this? Acha, remove. Chalo.
Blind. You go in blind. It's like a poker game.
What is the fundamental difference between, like, say, a white guy or other ethnicity guys and Indian guys that you found?
I think a big one is a sense of independence from one's family, which to me is very important. A sense of non-entitlement towards one's family background, and this want to make it themselves without any notions of I'm going to be living with my parents 5 years from now. My mom wants me to be this, that, the other thing. The family expectation is to be this, that, the other thing. I think that independence and certain detachment from one's family, one's relatives, that kind of thing is very attractive to me. I think they're okay with more confident women. I find, and not that I've had like a vast dating experience in India, but I just feel constantly hearing the idea in India that men like submissive women, men like quieter women, men like shy women, but in the US being appreciated for a sort of confidence and an outspokenness. I like that as well. Those two.
Sounds kind of nice,
Yeah,
honestly.
nice.
I can't deny.
Yeah.
What about you, Aryaan? In the post-breakup world.
So funnily enough, when we broke up, I was in a hospital in Sierra Leone in West Africa.
This is why.
And I was I thought, how should I get back from this? Because one way is to have that sort of, what's it called?
Rebound.
Rebound, right? Two reasons I couldn't. I was in HIV capital A. B, yeah, B.
It wasn't anything.
No, B.
It wasn't a virtuous thing. It was just like I physically cannot.
बहुत risk है, बहुत risk है.
No, and B, I was fat, right? And I lacked confidence. No, I lacked confidence. I was insecure, and which a lot of, the breakup could be attributed to my own sort of things in my head and my complexes. And I was like, okay, I got to work on this. So I spent that summer not exploring other people but myself only, because.
Which product did you use when you were exploring?
Which product? It's actually called Waking Up. It's a meditation app by Sam Harris that helped me.
Nice.
Oh my God, I wasn't expecting those two reasons. I thought you were going to say something really like light, and then you were like, it's because I was dealing with some stuff body image wise, and I was dealing with
Those are
HIV
just
positive.
No, I'm being silly about that.
Yeah.
But it was just things in our own heads, I guess. Yeah.
And then you went back to the US after.
Then I went back to the US, and it was I was still not fit, and I was still in my head not there, and I started calling myself an introvert to justify not leaving my dorm room and not meeting women. And around that time, Aishwarya and I were becoming friends again. She told me about her experiences, and I was envious that I couldn't be with people, right? And I couldn't do that. So it sort of the upside was it propelled me into fitness, and I started meditating a lot, and I was in my dorm room. I used to frown upon people who partied a lot. I'm like, you fucking losers. And it was just all a way to justify being, having less friends and a sort of mediocre social life. And I finally once ended up going out with a cheerleader from our college that I thought was absolutely beautiful. And it was the first time in months I'd approached a woman, and, she liked me back. And then that kicked off my Hoi summer and year. And I was like, okay, that's what Aishwarya was talking about.
Have you seen that Munna Bhai song, which is like, he's like sad, and then he's like, Fir ek din mohole mein Aishwarya. Yeah. That was your moment.
That was my moment, yeah.
I would be really, really kind of intimidated to date abroad. Because here, at least I have the security of being like a solid 7, 2 degrees.
No.
Good, like, they're like, oh,
up.
she seems nice. But like,
Nonsense,
when you're abroad, they're just like thrown in the mix of many
Lots of
amazing
different
people.
yeah.
People
That's
with
true.
septum piercings,
Yeah,
like,
I get that.
the world has too many opportunities.
Yeah.
I can't speak for most ethnicities, but American Indians just piss me off.
Yeah.
Like they're stuck in like India, but in the 80s, and they're like doing their
somehow the Indian Americans I've met are way more staunch, regressive in thought process than Indians I know, 100%. And it's just a weird mix.
And I'm one K3G reference away from pulling all my hair out and throwing it on their face, I'm done with the poo shit. Like it's over for me. Yeah.
Actually, I don't like the 90s aesthetic, especially with the Indian clothes. Like the blouses have that sweetheart neckline with the weird, beads on it that you don't wear that shit anymore. And
but
like
they wear it.
And everyone's got like those like Indianized nuts and gold temple jewelry, and they're trying to like rock it with a bralette at Coachella.
And it's not working.
It's kind of, it's icky.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Also, my reference mostly for Indian Americans, apart from the ones that I've met in person, is Indian matchmaking. And they just piss me off for real.
And shows like, what's it called? Never Have I Ever? Is
Yeah,
that the
yeah.
one? So irritating. Nobody's like that in India. Like,
yeah,
chill
like,
out.
come on. Come to 2024.
Yeah,
where,
please.
where people
Where
are with
actually,
it,
yeah.
according to me.
You know what happened
Agreed.
with a friend of mine? Like, it was like some reverse racism stuff. It was so funny. It was dark, at night. And he and a friend of his, two brown guys are walking down the road, and then there are two black guys walking down the same road, and then they freak out, okay, because they're like, oh my god, they're following us, and parallelly the black guys are freaking out that the brown guys are following them, so they just kept trying to avoid each other because they thought the other person was going to
get robbed by a white guy.
That's funny. The first time I properly encountered racism was when a black guy on the streets of Chicago
told us to go back to
our country, and he was cracked out of his mind, but it was funny as shit. And I shouted, "Dude, we're on the same team." So reverse racism is weird like that, but assimilating. I know, man. I think, and I know if you guys make a clip of what Aishwarya said about not wanting to date Indian guys, just white guys will get hate and it'll go viral. But there is a kernel of truth there, which is when Indians go abroad, we tend to, not just Indians, when anybody that is not American goes to America or any other country, you tend to gravitate towards your own people because it's comfortable. But I think the point of going to America or Europe or Australia to study is not the college you're going to, but it's the country that you're going to and the values that you're going to. And if you end up staying in your own circle of people, you're not going to get the full experience, and it is uncomfortable to assimilate. I assure you, it is very uncomfortable when you're insecure about your accent and how you pronounce certain consonants. There's so many things, code switching, these things that we don't talk about. You need to push through that. You need to make friends that are not from the same value system. It's got nothing to do with skin color. Skin color is a proxy for the value systems you bring. And so it's about befriending people with different value systems. And I think that allows you to, I guess assimilate might be one way of putting it, but expanding your social circle. And was it difficult? Yes. But Ash and I, at least, I don't think we cave to that pressure of just finding Indian friends. And we're friends from all over the world now by virtue of us realizing that's what I want to do. I want to optimize my American college experience for the Americanness of it.
And we have Indian friends too as a product of that. It doesn't mean that we won't end up having Indian friends. But such an interesting and diverse. I have an Ecuadorian friend. I have like very conservative rural American best friends. Yeah. I have a hardcore socialist American friend who's half British. It's just incredible and a very fun mix of people to have in your midst.
There's this group of 8 people from like a Bombay school. They're all in New York, and there's like 4 girls, 4 guys. They've all dated each other at one point. They've all cheated with each other at one point. Like they're living in like New York. You're in like, I guess the best city in the world to date, if you're like, so, but they only date each other. They cheat on each other. They make up with each other. They go out with each other. And they're like, oh, why don't you come visit? And I'm like, yuck. Like, I'm not even meeting any of y'all when I go to New York because like, it's just, like, why don't y'all have other friends? Why are these the only friends y'all have? Yeah.
I feel like that's such a red flag. Like, if you don't change friends from, or you don't increase your friend circle from the time you're in school till later.
Yes. Couldn't agree more.
Because why haven't you grown, Like, it's like...
Yeah, I agree.
But I'll just, in defense of having an Indian circle abroad, I will say this. If you're somebody that travels a lot, as an Indian traveling the world, always know that in any country, and I mean any country, you will find gujus or some businessmen that can provide you a safe haven. So as much as I would say expand your circle and whatnot, do not discard the privilege of being Indian when you travel. And I remember, so funny, I was in Djibouti, East Africa. And this is this high security country which has the military bases of all the world. It borders Somalia. And I had just come in from another African country, and I land and they don't let me in. They're like, which weird fucking African country are you coming from? I'm like, you guys are a weird fucking African country, let me in. And they're refusing to. And I run through them through all my paperwork, and I'm the only one that's been stopped. And then finally this guy goes, you look like Shah Rukh Khan. And I go, I fucking love Shah Rukh Khan. He said, you love Shah Rukh Khan? I said, I love Shah Rukh Khan. Gives me back my documents. He said, welcome to Djibouti. And then I realized everywhere I go in that country, if I ever feel unsafe, I go, if I wanted I'm like, Shah Rukh Khan. it's a conversation starter that puts
Wow.
a smile on everybody's face. And so that's the beauty of Indians and Indians around the world and Indianness.
Absolutely.
So that's the other side of
I have to say that if I'm really hungry and lost abroad, a thepla really hits the spot.
Yeah.
As much as I don't want to give in to the theplafication of the world, like a good thepla in
I've actually
Europe.
never had a thepla.
Dude,
What?
don't. Like, I like thepla before anyone comes. It
She's
is
learned.
a quick, on-the-go snack. It's satiating, but
Damn, you're selling it hard, huh?
I actually
Seems
really
like you're
like. Where were
overcompensating
we?
for a
Sorry,
thepla.
like you've never had a thepla. Horrible. I'll get you one right after. It's
Sounds
amazing. Yeah. You should have it everywhere. You go to Everest, have a thepla. You go to the what is it?
Mariana.
Mariana Trench.
Marina. Wait, is it Marina or Marina?
No, I think it's the Mariana.
I think
Mariana,
so,
yeah.
Have a thepla.
Yeah.
Noted.
Marina Bay.
Yeah.
Marina Bay. Correct.
Wow.
You know what? My sister now is in London, right? So she's like, okay, like having foreign friends is great, but it is the Indian friends that are helping you move from apartment to apartment. They understand homesickness. There's so many times you don't know how to use a pressure cooker.
So many
And they're all
times.
making dal together in Rajasthan. I mean, there are some things that you come back to because inevitably you're homesick, especially if you're like a very cold climate kind of space. That SAD, depression, seasonal affective.
Ash, were you ever
situations,
I was
homesick?
never
We were
homesick.
never
I was just
homesick.
gonna say. I
Really?
don't think I
Never
ever
once
felt
experienced homesickness.
And that doesn't mean I didn't miss my parents. I really love my parents.
No,
I'm
no, we
very
were sick
close
of
to
home,
them.
I think.
We were sick of home. Like, I
yeah.
wish my parents were there with me. But it's not that I was craving coming
Was
back
this
at
through
all.
college or did you
No, through
work
college.
at work in the States as
No,
well?
through college.
So maybe that.
I worked in the States.
So don't you feel like when you're hand to mouth at like a really like hustly job, it's nice to have the comforts of home, somebody laundering your clothes.
Sick.
I've
No.
heard so many people
You
say
need
that.
a laundry service.
No,
is
I
what-
guess I guess I didn't have a home like that to recall
Fair.
or to reminisce about that I would expect it. I just really liked the independence.
Same. I really enjoyed being by myself.
Yeah, I tell my mom all the time. It's funny. My relationship with my mom improved when I went abroad because it then, instead of being 24 hours of nonsensical fights, it became 30 minutes of quality conversations daily. Because you're not going to bring up nonsense in 30 minutes when you know that's all you have with your son or with
Yeah.
your mother. And over those 4, 5, 6 years, I ended up forming a very nice relationship with my mom. And so, yeah, no, not once was I homesick.
I will say I haven't moved very far from home. I'm like 14 minutes on Google Maps. But even my relationship with my mom has improved a lot since I moved out, just because, like, I need like quiet for 23 hours a day, and in that 1 hour I'm like sociable. Like, I'm just like fun for that 1 hour. So if I meet my mom for that 1 hour or I talk to her for that 1 hour, I'm quite pleasant. Otherwise I'm like, why is my towel not here? Why is, like I'm just being mean. And she's like, well,
I do
I
feel
like
like,
her more.
I don't think parents really want to see you in your entirety as a person. They might say, be vulnerable with us, be, this thing with us,
Correct.
that thing with us, but they just want you to perform that you are the best child and they didn't fuck up.
Yeah.
And if you can do that, you can do that in 30 minutes, but you can't do that through 24 hours. They
Maybe.
just feel
Flips.
really good about themselves. And I think that's totally fine.
Yeah,
And
in
that-
30 minutes, just tell them everything good you've done.
Yeah.
And that's all you are. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't
perhaps.
feel that way with my parents at all.
No, neither do I.
Must
I
be
don't.
nice. Oh, they just like, they were like, हाँ ठीक है तेरे को लगता है तो.
No, realistically, like if you tell your parents, okay, I'm alone in this like shady location in America, I don't know what to do, how will I get home? They will just freak out versus
think
like
Can
So,
I?
yeah,
Okay,
go ahead.
every time I am about to do a substance could be anything. Guys, it's a vague word. I tell my mom, I'm like 2 days I'll be unavailable. I am tripping. And
thanks for removing the G.
and I that's sort of but I guess that's a single kid relation, single parent relationship where I know, but I have no with my mom I think we're very chill that way.
Very chill. Me with my mom too. My entire phase of going out with people and figuring myself out, my mom was the one person who knew every detail about it. And sure, it some nights made her nervous that I was going out with someone I hadn't met before. She would always say things like, make sure you're first meeting in a public space, make sure you know who you're bringing back home, that kind
But
of
those
thing.
are just otherwise good things.
Otherwise,
yeah.
good things to know yourself. Like my mom was the one person who knew it, and my mom's a psychologist, so she's an unfair comparison to have. to
Yes,
most
come
people.
on.
Maybe
so
that's
funny.
how you
I
become
think
head
that's
boy
what
and
it is.
head girl.
Yeah.
But I think that's how you become head boy and head girl, by just having no mommy issue. Me? I think I've done great for myself. No, but like, it's like, you know, I'm 27 and I've grown 27 years, which is like wild to think that my parents have also grown 27
Yeah.
years. So,
Yes.
True.
like, I don't like thinking of them as like
Adults.
people. Like, you know, I'm like, how can you not just be mom and dad?
Yeah,
But they're
true.
like going through their own shit, and I'm just like,
Absolutely.
now I have to think, I have to empathize, and now I'm becoming a better person.
That's what I'm telling you. The hack to having a great relationship with your parents is
Keep
when
it
you meet
light.
them, take it light. Like, don't try to change their opinion of you or justify some stupid shit you're going to do. Just like show them that they did a good job, and your life will be perfect. It'll be easy, breezy, beautiful.
I
I
agree.
think for some people that's too superficial to accept. Maybe I don't know. Like
Give it a few years, honey. It'll make sense.
No, there's this saying, you're not of your parents, you're from your parents, and it is helpful to remember that they don't own you, and
Yeah.
that chill attitude.
That's such an
There-
anti-India sentiment.
Yeah.
Your parents
Yeah.
do own you,
yeah,
actually.
I know, but I
When you come back now to India after this great like bunny from Ye Jawani Hai Diwani
मैं उड़ना
experience,
चाहता हूँ.
what is it like coming back here? Is it an adjustment? How is dating, Aryaan, like for you in India? Now that you're a
And how's
celebrity.
long distance?
Yeah.
okay, you can start with dating.
no,
I'll-
please go long
Oh
distance
shit.
first.
Okay. I think to start off with, coming back initially was an adjustment. Like I said, there are things back in the US that make me feel like myself that I feel like I'll never fully be able to replicate in India without feeling at
Like
least
what?
a little bit uneasy. The ability to go out to a club at night, get drunk, have friends, come back. Like I live in Greater Noida, so I'm sure this is not true for most people. But the ability to dress how I want, the ability to just be myself a little bit, have a schedule that isn't dictated by safety and unsafety. All of that is a little bit of an adjustment. Living with my parents, obviously, after having lived alone for 4 years, is a little bit of an adjustment. To have friends who are actually living with their parents and saying things like, I can't come out tonight because my parents said I can't come out tonight at 24 is a little bit of an adjustment. But other than that, India's great. I absolutely love being here. Long distance sucks. It sucks.
Yeah.
But I think we have it better than, not most people, I would say, but better than most people across continents.
Yeah.
Where we get to meet each other multiple months in a year. He can come stay at my house, contrary to what most Indian parents would allow. Spend many months in India. I can spend time with his parents many months in the US.
Does he
So,
like India?
I think so. I hope
what
so.
What have you introduced him to? He's sitting in the room, so it's a bit
Yeah.
awkward. We're just talking.
Third person,
Does he like it? He's like, I can answer. We're like, no.
not talent.
I've introduced him, obviously, lots of Bollywood movies. I recently showed him Om Shanti Om. So I'm taking him deep now with Main Hoon Na and Om Shanti Om. We started off with the Ye Jawani Hai Diwani and Zindagi Na Milegi Dobaras, but we're going deep now. Obviously, taking him to all of the really fun, cool like events that we've been having in Mumbai is also a peek into India, like the streetwear events with the streetwear brands of India. Food, obviously, lots of food. Trying to show him the varying topography of India. Took him to one beach, one city, one hill station sort of vibe.
What beach?
Took him to Goa.
Oh. That's
Last year.
Last year.
no,
That was last year. Yeah,
last year?
yeah.
Okay.
And what is the hack to long distance? Come on, tell us.
I think it's knowing that it's not forever. It's having perspective that this is to come to an end. For us, we don't know when that end is. So it's a little bit tricky to keep that realization in your mind. But it's the knowledge that this is not forever. Right now is a time to prioritize the individual work you're doing. But you have decades of being together in the same vicinity once this is over, and this will be over. I think just having
And
that
at least with Aishwarya and Eddie's relationship, what I've seen is whenever they're together, it's like it's a honeymoon or a vacation. Before India, they were together in Europe and they were backpacking and in Italy and whatnot. Before that, he was in India, and then before that, you were in the States.
I was in the States.
Yeah, so like whenever they are together, it's like the best Instagram stories I'm seeing. I'm like, shit, I want that. So that also helps, I think.
Yeah.
Dude, when I did like a India to the US long distance relationship, I didn't have money. Like, I was a student, he was a student. So we would meet twice a year for like a month.
Yeah.
And what we would do when we were not physically together, we're like, what's the point of fighting now? Like, you know, and then when he would come here, I would be like, what's the point of fighting now?
Yeah.
And then like one time I just got drunk and I yelled at him for like 1 hour, and then that was the end of that relationship.
Oh my God.
Wow.
So it's great.
Solid grounds.
Yeah, wow.
So do you ever like fall asleep on the phone? Do you fall asleep fighting and then you don't remember the next morning what you fought about, but you're mad?
We don't fight, though. I don't know what it is. We just don't. We'll have small disagreements that are clarified pretty quickly, but never like no fights ever. I think we're also not in the stage where we're falling asleep cutesy on the phone. Like, we have different schedules. It's the middle of the day for him.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes
That's
when
also true, yeah.
Sometimes when I'm scared in my room because I watched a horror movie, I'll call him and be like, I'm falling asleep. Let the phone be with you. That's all I want. But
do you still do the weekly or monthly check-ins and all that you talk?
Yeah,
I think
we
those.
do.
That's
Not monthly anymore, but when we started dating, we would do monthly check-ins. We would start by things we didn't like the other person did that month, and end with things that we liked the other person did, and end it with a cute thank you and nice affirmations to each other.
Must be nice.
Must be nice, I swear.
I think if you want to know more
that's so
systems
sweet.
like that, Ramit Sethi on Tim Ferriss's
Yeah, the
podcast had
podcast,
that,
yeah.
and there are many others you can check out. But I think those are helpful.
Your type A is what I'm getting
Yes,
from
very
this.
much so. These are all my systems.
Is Eddie also type A, or he just is there for the
No,
ride?
I think Eddie balances me in that it's not that Eddie's impassionate about the things that he's working on, but Eddie's not as hard strung, I feel, as I am. He's happy to follow my systems. If he's irritated by them, he'll tell me off. But he's happy with
In
it.
that monthly check-in, he'll be like,
See, our life is too structured.
No, but also I'm also not like that. I don't think I have lots of structures.
I feel like with the job that we have, it's not possible to be structured in like your day to day.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Let's switch it over to the man who's trying to come up with a quote to make everything deeper.
tie it all
No,
together
no.
with a.
It's the packaging. At the end of the
Nice
day,
bow.
he's just.
Come on, Aryaan.
You're trying so hard to bully me. What do you want to know? I don't.
You're in Bombay. You're young.
What dating
like
apps
dating
are
in
cool
India, you
right
didn't
now?
say.
What is dating in India like?
Which dating apps are cool, relevant right now? Are you on Raya?
I downloaded it.
Is Raya the famous people one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just got having that account was like, oh, cool, status, and then I didn't use it. But I used Hinge briefly. Hinge was nice, but I dating in India. See, even for me, I mean, I've been back in India for 8 months now. I like Mumbai. From the dating perspective, you meet people organically. In Delhi, it was funny because I like meeting people organically. I like meeting them in a cafe or a bar. And in Delhi, people are not used to that. Women especially, are not used to being approached. They're used to being approached in a very different way. Yeah. So if you do, initiate a conversation with a stranger, they are so on the guard, completely understandably, that organic interactions require much more ice breaking than otherwise. So that was an interesting experience for me, Delhi and Noida, and trying to meet people organically. But Mumbai, it's been great, man. I mean, I feel like somebody told me New York is like Mumbai on LSD, and I've lived in New York. I love New York, and I love Mumbai equally. There's the same energy these two cities have, and the people of these cities have. So it's been fun.
I like how you said that, and my first thing was like, oh, so there's no need to go to New York because I don't like Bombay.
You don't like LSD?
I don't like Bombay. But I love it. I love it. Like,
Oh my god.
I was just wondering. I was like,
I
I
saw
do.
your eyes only and I realized what I'm saying. I love everything.
Yeah, but I can't imagine like it being easy going up and breaking the ice with someone and being like, yeah, I'd like to talk about how people get murdered like 2 hours at a time every week.
Yeah, so that's like second date stuff, you know.
Oh,
No,
first
but
I-
honestly,
I
I think
first-
women would love that.
Huh?
Women would love a guy who's a true
No,
crime
if,
podcast.
no, but like if he was like, I love
if
like
that's my opener?
researching murders,
No,
I would
that
be like,
can't be
he's
your
gonna kill
opener.
Yeah,
me.
can't be my
You
opener,
guys.
bro.
Yeah, of course.
What's your opener?
No, it
I have
depends.
200k followers.
Yeah.
Can't say I, he
It's
has like
227. Yeah, it's 227k.
9,000
for some.
followers.
No, I know it depends, man. It depends. I think the simplest is, hey, my name is Aryaan. Just start with that. It's all that is required to talk to a woman is to go and talk to the woman. You don't, or being these creative openers and pickup lines are all tertiary, right? Just have the confidence to go up to a woman and introduce yourself, and everything else takes care of itself.
You heard that here first, folks. Try this generic approach to dating and
No,
you might.
But our followers really want to know how to flirt because,
Yeah.
like in a previous episode, Naina and I were talking about how we love flirting. Like we
Sure.
don't like, we have no goal to flirt. We don't want to fuck. Like we're just like having a
just fun
great
to
time flirting. But
Yeah.
for our 3 male listeners who
Yeah.
listen, Aryaan, can you give some like
Tips.
what's something that's sure shot? Like second date is pakka, guaranteed.
Second date is pakka. I think Aishwarya once told me she used to read or listen to this guy named Matthew Hussey.
Yeah.
And he said flirt with everybody. And so I think flirting has a connotation attached to it, which has some
Yeah.
sexual undertone to it. But you girls just said you're not trying to source it, you just like flirting.
Yeah.
I think if you want to get better at it, you really just need to enjoy it. And flirting just simply means making others feel good in your presence with a little bit of it requires a little humor and joking and a little tension. That's what
Yeah.
flirting is at the end of the day. And if you can create that with the mic wale dada, and if you can create that with if you can create that with any and everybody around you and just be more
So
friendly.
you're just flirting.
I
I
am
was talking about it in like particular.
No, I know, but I
situations.
think if you do that with everybody, you get really comfortable doing that when you find a girl cute, because you're used to it. You have the training across. It's not like, oh my god, once a month if I see somebody cute, I be flirting. You're so adept at it that it
Yeah.
comes second nature to you. That hey, Aryaan, blah, 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 blah.
I think there's a lot to be done with eye contact and body language to create that tension. While the wit and the charm begins the conversation, I think the body language and the eye contact, at least as a woman, everyone knows that lingering eye contact that does it. Everyone knows a little bit of leaning in that does it. A little bit of playing with your hair that does it. So those are all like body language cues, I think, that
Yeah, that's
are
true.
good as
For
well.
your 3 male guy audience, I would say always approach a woman from the front. Try not to approach from the back.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you mean? If a guy
What
comes
if I,
on the
like,
back
tapped
and
on my
slaps
back?
me on the head, I would be so. Just
The
went
more you know.
tupply.
Okay. How can you not ick a woman out? What is
Aryaan
the-
hasn't learned that.
Yeah, there you go.
No.
I thought I was doing the right thing up until now, but I don't know, man. What would ick you out? Like, I'm not even sure what are some.
What would ick you out actually? If we'll give you the situations and
shit.
as our male representative.
Yeah. What would ick you out, Aishwarya?
A man. who
Period.
is- yeah, full stop. I know they're like people have stupid petty icks. I'm trying to think of something like more meaningful than.
What are your stupid petty icks?
When a man's too happy.
When
When a
someone
man wears like sports shoes, for example, I fucking hate sports shoes. Running shoes.
You know, and when they wear backpacks, like I
Yeah,
just cannot
true,
handle
true.
a backpack situation.
So those things exist.
Those
But I'm trying
are
to think of something
petty.
different.
I don't like being like approached like at the gym and then being
Oh, really?
mansplained like this is how you can
Yeah.
activate
true.
your
yeah.
X
Don't
muscle.
do that. Don't.
Yeah, no, I don't like that from another man in the gym only, so I
Yeah.
feel you know that.
Yeah, don't. give
Please,
inputs
men,
in the
don't
gym.
hit on Aryaan at the gym. He does not like it.
I think like maybe I think a guy very attached to his mom is a little bit of an ick. And I think a guy who's okay being like a ghar jamai type vibes is also an ick. But those are obviously very big icks.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
are problems.
Yeah.
Like bedroom rap is an ick for me.
What
What
the
is-
hell
you know
is that?
Just gives you an insight into Naina's dating
Like, you
life.
know, like there's a lot of rappers on the internet these days. I don't fuck with it.
Achha,
Like,
oh.
If somebody's like, oh, I'm really into music, I'm a producer, I'm like, what did you make? And they're like, here is
Oh.
this song, it's called Bedardi. You know, like it's not happening.
Yeah, agreed. Valid icks.
So,
Valid
Okay,
icks.
so how to not
Say-
be?
Agreed. How to not do what?
Okay, what's an
Don't
ick
be
for
into
you?
rap.
What's an ick for you?
What's an ick for me? Fucking wants to be. I can't. I don't. Like, I'm bad at texting too much. Like I put the phone away and then I won't. So if somebody wants constantly to be texted or constantly texts, that's a big ick for me. I will text you lesser if you text me more. So
ladies, make no.
Interesting.
yeah.
Just trying to hold Aryaan out this whole
Yeah.
episode.
Are you single?
Yes.
Are you looking?
I don't know what I'm
So
looking
this is an
for.
audience
What
of
is there?
ladies.
I am.
Ladies, since we have a male guest on our podcast today,
For the first time, congratulations, Aryaan.
Thank
You made
Thank
it.
you. Yeah.
by
You're
virtue of being
welcome.
attached to Aishwarya
Yeah.
podcast.
Second-hand citizen.
He may or may not be single and looking.
Why not? Why? If I
He
said I'm
said he's
single,
single,
Oh,
though.
looking.
I am bhola bhala
Looking.
innocent kid.
Yeah.
If you like which okay.
So we put a dam at the end of it.
What is it? What is it called? Were the lonely flyers that were big in? I was listening about this yesterday. Lonely flyers, or somebody knows the word for this. They were big in 18th century, 19th century London and UK during the Victorian times, where it was the Tinder of that day, where single people would put out flyers across London with their contact information and funny funny lines about what they're looking for.
That's sweet.
And the number one thing guys would put would be need to be a plump woman.
Oh, really?
Plump woman, smart but not too witty. Weird things, and it was about how.
How is that weird?
Yeah, no, it got progressively weirder by the industrial age, and
What's your lonely flyer bio?
Message
Oh my
to
god,
people.
wait. What is that thing on if there's that Facebook in subtle curry dating? Have you guys seen that?
no idea.
It's this like it's for mainly like American Indians, Australian Indians. You like put in like a bio data and photos, and a lot of NRIs and American Indians have found the love of their life through subtle curry dating.
Subtle curry.
Yeah, and it's a Facebook
Why
page,
is it
which is
called
what
this?
which
I
is
know,
how
it
you
makes me
know that
hungry.
they're like.
Damn.
What would your lonely flyers bio be?
What would my lonely fly bio be? Single plump man. I don't know.
What are you looking for?
What am I okay. Single plump woman. No. No, I don't know what I'm not looking for anything. Things come. I am happy to meet you, talk to you, meet cool people. But I have no filters or criteria as such. Not, yeah, my head is occupied by other things right now.
Did you guys expect Desi Crime to pop off the way that it has? And
Yes and no.
Yeah, yes and no. I think I had 100% faith that it would. I have
Yeah.
all the faith in the world it will make us billionaires.
It will.
She was
My
always the
trajectory is-
visionary of the two of like she always believed it's gonna make us $1 million. And I'm like, you're being silly, how can it do anything? And then things happen. So like she's the one that has that vision that keeps pulling the boat ahead. I have the anchor that sort of, okay, let's do this first. Let's do this
Yeah,
first.
we need to get there somehow. So yeah, yes and no.
And how has it changed now that you guys are on the internet? There are faces associated with Desi Crime. Is there like a celebrity? Because you guys are pretty cult figures.
Yeah.
Like those few months where you guys weren't posting, I feel like every day on Insta celebs gossip there was a where is Desi Crime? Where have they gone? Like
Oh, the recent time. Yeah.
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 Yeah, that was quite the ordeal. I think it showed me the flip
Yeah.
side of having fans is that there is a
There's
chance they can
expectation.
turn on you. Like being like fandom is the one side of the same coin as hate, I think, and it can turn really quickly.
Yeah.
And yeah, for those 6 months that we didn't post for all the reasons that we couldn't have, had to see some, that ardent followership just turn on us, and we couldn't tell them why we weren't posting because of,
Yeah.
our legal team had told us, keep it low key for now, and so we never told. Nobody knows what happened, and we couldn't share with our community. But to see them turn was a
I
little
think, to
weird.
be fair, I think the response was still overwhelmingly understanding. I think people were irritated there was no message from us.
Yeah.
But when there was a message, I feel like
Correct,
people were
correct.
overwhelmingly
Yeah.
understanding. Somehow that's been the case with the audience that we have, is that they tend to understand.
I think it's because they're
Yeah.
women. I
Yeah.
think with
That's
70%
Aryan's
female,
theory.
that's my theory. Women are just kinder than, and yeah. So I made the mistake of creating a Reddit account
Yes.
and like trying to explain to people
On Reddit.
on Reddit. I didn't know. I thought it was the same as any other platform. I was like, guys, there's a reason why we can't talk. And
That
I've
Reddit
never
post
experienced that
flipped
kind of
on Aryan.
toxicity. And I'm not usually, I'm not impacted by these things at all. Aishwarya would know that. Like, what people say doesn't, like, I'll take it as a joke. But usually when I provide reason and logic and I try to empathize with the other person, they see through it, Even on Instagram comments, like, sometimes people have been rude, and when we've responded very positively and very in a civil manner, they apologize. They're like, "This is the first. I can't believe my first interaction with you was this. I'm so sorry for that mean thing." So I expected going into Reddit, that's what it's going to be. And oh my God, it's a different world out there.
Yeah.
So I experienced it first, and I guess that's why I have a little bit of that biasness. And of course, people just saying, guys, you're going to lose your community. You'll never make a comeback, this and that. And yeah, we just had to wait it out.
Yeah.
It's like in the accountability thing, right? Like I have a YouTube channel that I abandon like
Oh, no
a
way.
lot. Like I go for 6 months, I come back for 3 months. And at one point in one of the videos, I was like, hey guys, I know I've been missing for 6 months, but it's because, and then I was like, why the fuck am I telling y'all it's my content? And they were like, bitch, like why are we following you then? And then I was like, okay, I guess I have some sort of responsibility. And actually now also I was going to talk to Nan. I was like, for 3 weeks you just not want to post. But like if we don't post at 5 p.m. on Friday, and keep in mind our community is much smaller than you guys is. But like we start getting messages pretty much instantly.
Yeah,
So we're not going on a break.
I mean, the thing is also, one, when the interactions are so like intentional and pure, it's really nice to keep like keeping it going with your
Yeah, yeah,
audience. But the pressure of being on this side of the camera is that inevitably you have to be a little bit likable.
Yeah.
And when you're
Yeah.
going through those lows in life and you don't want to be likable and you don't want to show up, you kind of almost want to rebel the fact that like, why the fuck does this set of people think they have ownership over me putting out like material right now?
That makes
I'm like
sense.
struggling mentally to do it.
I think which also is again a difference between your kind of content and our kind of content. Even at our lowest, it's never felt like we can't show up, because what we're showing up for is someone else's story, not our own story.
Good point.
And so to show up for our own stories is much harder when we're not feeling it.
Aryaan is juggling, running a production house, running around Bandra,
Yeah, like
flat
trying to
mating with the biggest
finding
podcaster
plump
in
women.
India.
Finding
finding
plump
plump
women.
women. Like, how do you manage to show up?
See, to Aishwarya's point about it being not us, I agree.
Yeah.
Researching and writing is a job. If you need to think of it like that, not think of it like we show up to write the story and tell somebody's story well. And I can go through a low or high phase, but that's a job. And if you're doing a job, if you're doing a 9 to 5, that job cannot be dictated according to your highs and lows to a certain degree. You need to show up. At least we have that belief for how we do Desi Crime. So I think we haven't faced that issue. Also, it's when we came back to India and I started meeting the community and like actually meeting fans and realizing, oh my God, there are a lot of people that really love and appreciate what we do. I got a sense of how important Saturdays were in their life. That 40 minutes a week are sort of designated for us. And when that's been going on for 3 to 4 years, the dearth of it can really shake you up. So I started thinking, who are those people in my life that if they don't post for 6 months, I will really like feel I've lost a major, and if so, if like a Huberman and Tim Ferriss just disappears, I'll be like a little weirded out as to, oh no, where do I go for those 40 minutes or an hour a day? So I understand the accountability and the responsibility and the need to show up. But
also, if Huberman has 6 girlfriends and still makes time for
six
his
plump women.
six plump women and still makes time for the podcast, then
We
what
can
could
all
we
do
be
Hell
going
yeah.
through?
Daddy.
No,
Yeah.
100%, because I generally listen to you guys when I'm literally doing everything in the house. Like, there's a touch point in the kitchen, there's a touch point everywhere, okay? And then you guys stop posting, and I had
Yeah.
been diligently listening, and I was literally going along with the podcast. Funnily, whenever you talk about, like, I was in Africa, I was here, and I can remember you talking about it in an episode.
He talks
and
so
I
much
start
about his
thinking about
travels.
where I was at that point in time and when I was listening to the podcast. And when you guys just disappeared, I was like, wait, but my dishes need to be scrubbed.
Yeah.
How do I do this without listening to
Yeah.
them in my ear?
Yeah, we understand. That's why the accountability.
Yeah.
Do you get nightmares?
I
Sure.
have really bad nightmares.
Yeah?
Very bad nightmares, yeah. And I don't think it has anything to do with maybe it does,
Ashwar, but you've always had
Maybe,
nightmares.
yeah. But I've always also listened to
True
true crime
crime, true,
podcasts.
true.
So I have horrible nightmares. I'm a very happy person, but I have nightmares about the weirdest stuff, being stuck in a school shooting, being in a hijacking, being in like a bomb blast. I've literally been the GK bomb blast. Are you from Delhi, right?
Yeah.
The GK market bomb blast. I've been in a recreation of the GK market bomb blasts. It's
That's
insane
scary.
dreams.
Wow.
Absolutely wild.
Is there one, like, I know you guys are like researching a different case every week, but is there like those 1-2 cases that have like kind of changed like something in your
yeah.
brain, like,
Yeah,
it's
definitely. I think not something that I would describe so strongly, just because we've had to create a distance from the cases to be able to remain sane after producing 100-some episodes. But there is always one that stays with you a little
Yeah.
longer than the others. For me, something like the honeymoon murder case, like Annie Devani's stories, it stayed with me for so long. And I think the reason is that I ended up reading the dad's book on the daughter. And so that put me so close to the victim's story, like reading of her childhood, the day of her birth, reading of her like journey in college, her mom getting cancer, being there for mom, all of that. I think that put me so close to the victim that then that story, that and Sneha Philip, the disappearance of Sneha Philip, stayed with me for a while.
Yeah, for me, like Aishwarya said, distancing yourself from the stories is important. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to cover these heartbreaking cases. One that really got me was the Kohistan case. It's these 5 women in northern Pakhtunkhwa in Pakistan. And a video of them got leaked, for which they were kidnapped by the town of Kohistan and were on the verge of being killed for honor. This is what I found out initially, and I was like, fuck, what sex tape of them there's leaked, right? And so that's what I went on the internet to find as part of the research, guys. And sorry, in my own head I tripped up. And you see this video, and it's the most heartbreaking thing, because it's 4 to 5 women fully clad in traditional clothes, singing a traditional song, and 2 guys fully clothed doing a traditional dance, just like a Sufi dance of sorts. For that, they eventually got killed for honor, quote unquote honor, for being in the proximity of men in the same room. And it was so heartbreaking. And the investigation, the lack of justice, the fact that one of the brothers of the 2 men went to Islamabad to fight for these women, but ended up getting no justice, was 7 years after, on the streets of Pakistan trying to get justice, got assassinated by their brothers. So it's a sad story that just gets sadder till the end of it, and there is no there's no hope in this story. It's one of the most hopeless stories I've covered. And I talked to people involved in this case, the journalists, the filmmakers, who just talked about Afzal, this guy that was trying to fight for justice, putting his own life on the line, and finding out so much about the character made the character a person. No longer a story for me. It became very real. And so, yeah, that made me cry. And that was a tough one. That stayed with me and made honor killing something that I feel very strongly about.
It's weird because you're not really in proximity with any of the people who are in that case.
Correct.
It's not like you can tangibly take your sadness somewhere
Yeah.
and remove it from your
Yeah.
body, and you're just like having this outer body experience. How do you deal with that? Like, where do you take it?
Where do I take? I guess I take it to the paper and I take it to the mic
Fair.
and I
Fair.
take it.
Actually, I have a podcast. Then I just wanted to ask a question. She started with something. She didn't know where to end.
Yeah, actually, I just want, no, because I remember watching like Trial by Fire is just so devastating and
Yeah.
heartbreaking to watch, and I was so physically upset after
Yeah.
Delhi Crime, after Trial by Fire,
Yeah.
to watch those shows, and I'm like, what do I do with this feeling?
Yeah.
Because it is heinous, right? And
Absolutely.
I wonder, like, when you're recording like Desi Crime Podcast, is there some kind of moral code that you follow? Because it is essentially making content out of something very gruesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
To the point of Trial by Fire, based on the Upar cinema tragedy, a case we covered recently on our show. Aishwarya wrote it, and we even went to Upar cinema that is now dilapidated and burned. And the case again became too real. During the narration, she shed a tear. My eyes were wet. And I guess in cases like those that really stood out to you, the closure comes when from the mother of two of the victims, the mother who the movie show Trial by Fire is based on, asking us to call her up. So we
And
called
I'm
that number.
scared. I'm so
She's
scared. I'm
really
like,
we
okay,
fucked up.
I think, okay, everything was factually correct. I based it off of their book. Like, I made sure to give them credit for their book. I linked their book in the bio. What could I have possibly done wrong? But then we call her.
And she said, well done. Well done. And so I think that provides that sort of, apart from the mic and the paper, that closure that a case can bring.
Yeah, true.
codes
and ethics, we have a ton of rules. I think that
I feel like I don't do much to complimentary stuff. Like I'm pretty like stingy with my compliments. So I feel like this should make the cut so that
Yeah.
people
Thank you.
think I'm a nice person.
Thank you.
You're welcome,
But
sweetie.
It's a fun podcast. I'm done. I'm done
You're
giving the
done.
compliment. No, I don't even listen to Moment of Silence. I know I already said that as well.
Yeah.
Because the co-hosts of Moment of Silence are just not... मजा नहीं है वैसे.
नहीं है ना, बिल्कुल नहीं.
Yeah.
But we talk so much about our own lives that like after a point I'm like, there's no content left. I've
That's
juiced
the real
I
everything
get
crime.
out.
that. That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
The only episode we can never do and we suck at each time is breakups. Each time we fucked up. We've recorded twice now.
you've not had a breakup episode yet?
Yeah, because we're too close to the subject. There's too many emotions.
And we always film it and then one of us will message saying, hey, listen,
Yeah.
छोड़ना.
छोड़ देते हैं. Let's.
Yeah.
Nice.
The
I'm
thing
waiting
is,
for
when
the
we're like
day.
shitting on just a population of general men,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
no
yeah.
one personal.
Yeah.
But when I'm gonna shit actively on my ex, then
Yeah.
I can
that's
think of-
scarier to you somehow than the other one.
Yeah,
because I want to leave it. I want to seem graceful.
I see. I see.
My last breakup, the guy straight told me, he was like, there's no grace in anything that you do. So I don't know why I want to...
Weird thing to say.
Yeah, I asked. I was like, am I being graceful?
Oh,
Such a weird thing to ask.
yeah, that's a weird thing to ask.
I just thought I was being so graceful. I was like, एक बार पूछ लेते हैं
जाते
validation
जाते
में.
compliment मिल जाए.
He was like, गान मरा bro.
I for one can't stand breakup. I can't stand relationships. Okay,
Dude, you know, relationships have been pissing... Sorry, Aishwarya.
sorry.
Sorry, Eddie. Sorry to everyone in the room that's in a relationship. But yeah, they've been pissing me off. Like, I see a happy couple and I'm like,
Irritated. Yeah.
what have you done to deserve this?
And also, like, that's something that doesn't happen on Desi Crime, right? Because everyone was
That's
murdered
true.
by a lover.
There's no happy relationships.
Yeah.
Facts.
So I'm like, if it happened there, then
Yeah.
it's not so bad if I don't like my ex.
Yeah, how bad can my relationship be if I'm
Yeah.
alive?
If I'm alive.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like not toxic enough. That's why I sleep with a knife on the left side of my bed.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Dude,
It's a
I'm
good way to
big
prevent
fattu.
nightmares also.
Like, first of all, I never open the door without checking the camera, which is like
Okay.
one thing. And
Fair
then like
enough.
I have pepper spray, I have a knife, and I have a whole plan of action if someone breaks into my house. Like the door is locked,
I don't
Sushi
think you
will
should
bark.
reveal that to the.
Yeah, don't
Sushi will
reveal.
bark, and then I have the rest
Yeah.
sorted. Don't
Except
worry
what
about
happened the
it.
other day was that her domestic help found the pepper spray
Oh,
and
yeah.
thought it was a perfume. And then she was going to just like sneakily use it. And then the entire house erupted.
She actually sprayed it.
She sprayed it, and I was in the shower, and Subrat was in a meeting, and I'm just like coughing, and I was like, oh my god, this is the vaping. It's caught up to me. Like, because I didn't know she had sprayed it, and I was like, oh, this is how I die in a fucking shower. And then Subrat's in a meeting, suddenly his eyes are tearing, and like his team probably thinks he's
God.
sobbing about something. And she just goes to the kitchen and pretends like nothing happened. And I was like, babe, what have you done? And she
That's
was
the
like,
real killer. Someone who didn't even fucking tear from pepper
Bro,
spray.
curry, cyanide, and pepper spray.
"No,
Wait, what did she say when you confronted her?
sorry."
Oh, that
What
pisses
did
me
she
off.
say?
That
I
pisses
guess.
me
And
off.
like I was like, आप सुशी को कमरे के अंदर रखे और अब वो उसका आँख whatever I said
हिंदी है?
properly.
ऐसे बोलोगी तो यार.
And then she was like, नहीं मैंने दरवाजा खुला रखा था, आपका कुत्ता आपको छोड़ता नहीं है तो वो नहीं आया बाहर. I was like, babe.
She's blaming the victim.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, literal.
Yeah.
That's wild.
That's the
Oh
real
man, I'm actually
crime. For sure.
mad.
And she went back in the room and started cleaning till we
No,
were
I
like,
want a
babe,
better
second-hand
apology,
irritation,
dude.
I
I
would
want
say.
a better apology.
Dude, the
for
thing is that the pepper spray wasn't even lying anywhere in
It was in
sight.
the
That-
same
okay,
drawer
guys,
as my
I'm-
fucking vibrator. Why the fuck was she there?
What all was she using then?
She's
is
like,
that-
आज दीदी shampoo कर रही है कि it's a normal shower. कितना time है मेरे पास?
Anyway, on that note, I will be ending the pod. Thank you guys for coming and doing this
Thank you.
episode with us. Are you guys feeling okay?
Yes.
Feel great,
I mean,
huh?
I'm a little second-hand,
Hungry.
like vicariously mad for you
She's
at her.
coming. You can yell at her.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for. I already said this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're
how
in a
to
very
end
complimentary, grateful
Listen,
mood.
we-
Thank you. You're nice.
Here's the
Dude,
thing.
वो तो बोलना पड़ता है.
We're in a room. I'm passing the mic over to two people who read and then to one person who also doesn't read like myself.
But I have a bookshelf.
And there are some books on it.
Which
But
are
the-
about to go, I'm assuming.
Shut up.
damn.
Yes, maybe.
Desi crime gets dirty. But the
Sick.
whole thing is that every time we've been hitting low ball with our humor, you guys have been quoting people and citing studies, and I'm getting very thrown off, So
Sorry.
I just never knew I
Unbelievable.
was that dumb.
dumb, yeah.
Like, and you
No,
guys
but
really
you're
brought a
not.
mirror
We are
to
smart.
it.
Yes.
We're not smart.
I knew that there was a reason I wasn't selected for Model UN. I just had not figured it out till today. So
I
thank
No,
you.
you were hot and we were not, and so we had to find other
I think
ways of
that's
climbing
exactly
up
what
the
it
social
was.
hierarchy of school.
They said it. I didn't. Subscribe to Moment of Silence. Subscribe to Desi
Desi
Crime.
Crime.
Just 4 hot people in a room. They
They
might
might
collab on a
cry.
podcast.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Stay safe, stay crazy, and stay desi.